Hello guys, I'm going to bring you through the PowerPoint here, just so you can hear me actually explain it, but I'm going to probably go through parts of it faster than you can read just because I know the PowerPoint's on there for you guys to read later. So we're going to talk about lines and line segments of circles. Woo! Alright, so first of all we got to remember the difference between lines and line segments. So remember, a line has these little arrows here, and those mean that it's heading off like into forever in both of those directions. A line segment, you're saying, I want you to start here and in here. And so it's really just a segment or part of a line. So when you name a line segment, you just put the letters you start and end at, and you put a straight line across the top. When you name a line, you want to put two letters that are on the line and then put arrows on it. The cool thing about a line is even if there was another point like right here in the middle, I would still know that that point is all part of this line, or if there's another point over here, it doesn't matter, because since this line goes on to forever, as long as I've grabbed two letters on the line, I mean this whole entire line. With a line segment, you're telling me where to start and where to end. And normally we put the letters in alphabetical order. I mean, I technically could have named this one B-A, and it would still be correct, but alphabetical order is just kind of the default. Okay, this is a circle. Yay, we started out good. Alright, so we're going to put this point here in the middle. And this right here is what we call the center or central point. So that's right at the center of the circle, and I just call it A. When I say name that point, just write down A. It's point A. Alright, and then any point out here on the edge is just a point on the outside edge, and any point from the outside edge right to the center is called a radius. Okay? So this is the radius of the circle, and it goes halfway across the circle. Okay? It's more than one radius, so the plural of radius is radii. And then if I have two that are going straight through like this is called a diameter. The diameter of a circle is if you're going straight from one side to the other, and it's one straight continuous line, and it has to go through this center point. So one straight continuous line from one end of the circle to the other is called a diameter, as long as it goes through that central point. And so again, see, these are line segments. Sorry, my little thing's coming up there. These are line segments because I want you to have a start and a stop that I'm talking about. I don't want you to use this entire line on forever. So radii and diameters are all going to be line segments, and that's how they're named down there below. Okay, and then, you know, there are lines that we can draw, obviously, that don't go through the center. See, look at that. Lots of lines. These are called chords. And like, if you can see, if I took that line out the center, because I can do lines like this, it looks kind of like a guitar. I could strum blue, blue, do, 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 or a harp. And so that kind of helps you remember chords, because the chords are, you know, music that you can play. So these lines are just all called chords because, see, none of them actually go directly through the center, even though they go from one end to the other. Chords are also line segments. All right. So go ahead and pause the video for a second right here, and I want you to write down any of the center. I want you to find the center point. I want you to write down radii, diameters, chords. Just practice writing the names. So go ahead and pause. Sorry, there's the answers for you. So these are all the possible radii. The thing to remember is even though BE here is a diameter, whenever you have a diameter, you also have two radii, because you also have here to here is a radius and here to here is a radius. The cool thing is, if you think about it, diameter goes all the way across, radius goes halfway across. So I want you to be thinking about how if I gave you a length of a radius or if I gave you a length of a diameter. So like if I gave you the length of a radius, how you could find the diameter, and if I gave you a length of the diameter, how you might be able to find the radius. Okay. Now let's talk about tangent. So we've used tangent before with triangles. We're going to be using the term differently now. When we talk about tangent, we're talking about something that comes right along here. So if you're tangent to something in graphing or in like there with the circles, that means you're right next to it. So a tangent line comes right up and it only touches at this one single point, which means that you know, it's not going to go through any other points of the circle. This line, like you can see, it has the arrows, so it's going to go on forever. And this line just never ever touches this circle again. It only hits right here at this one point, so it's just right up next to that circle. And we call this point, point C here, the point of tangency. And then the line itself, AB, or we could actually name the line AC or CB, but the line itself is the tangent line. So it's a tangent line, and then a point of tangency is right there where it is the only point that hits. Okay? Then there's also secant lines. I know it's a little weird because tangent usually goes with cotangent, but we use secant. So secant is when you have a line that intersects in exactly 2 points. So generally it creates a chord. It can create a diameter, like it could be a secant line that goes through the center, but a lot of times we're going to be using ones like this that create a chord, because see, if I just use the segment from A to B, then it's a chord, but by naming it a line with these arrows going off forever, then it becomes a secant line instead of a chord. I know, geometry is very technical in these sorts of things. So, like here, you can see the 2 different ways you would name it. If you want it to, the secant line is AB with the arrows, and the chord is just AB, the line segment that goes right through here. But a secant line only touches the circle in 2 points, so it's not curved, it's just one straight line. Okay, so go ahead and practice these terms. Go ahead and name whatever secant, tangent lines and things you can find. I'm going to pause the video for a second so that you can do that. Okay, so if you've paused and you have checked your answers, here you go. Here are all your terms. I had to clear over here to make some more area. So central point at A, here's your radii, diameters, chords, point of tangency, secant lines, and tangent line. And notice that you can't use DK as a secant line because it's only drawn as a line segment. If you were to be able to draw on my paper and put little arrows here, then you could use this as a secant line, but it can only be used as a chord because I only drew it as a line segment. All right, and that is all for this video. So, you know, check and see if you have any questions. Make sure you talk to me about them in class. But those are the terms for lines and line segments that we're going to go over in this unit.